This is The Final Straw Radio, a weekly anarchist and anti-authoritarian radio show broadcasting out of occupied Salagi land in southern Appalachia. We bring you voices and perspectives from projects and struggles all around the world. Welcome to our second edition that we're excited to share from the Burning Book lecture series. We are slowly continuing to release audios recorded at Burning Books in Buffalo, New York, to share inspiring ideas and experiences this bookstore has hosted over the last 7 years or so. This pandemic period should be one where we take account of the situation we find ourselves in, hone our skills, learn from our elders, and consider how to engage as the disease ravages our communities and the forces of capital and repression make their moves. Kazi Toure spoke on March 25th, 2015 on his political development, activity, engagement as a Marxist guerrilla in the USA, his time as a political prisoner, his ideas, and organizing. From his bio, former political prisoner and United Freedom Front member Kazi Toure was imprisoned for his role in 20 bombings combating apartheid in South Africa and U.S. imperialism in Central America. The United Freedom Front has been considered, quote, undoubtedly the most successful of the leftist guerrilla groups of the 1970s and 80s, unquote, and struck powerful blows to South African Airways, Mobil, IBM, Union Carbide, and various courthouses and U.S. military targets. If you enjoyed this lecture, keep an ear out for more, and check out our first release in this series from Dr. Roxanne Dunbar-Ortiz, who is speaking on an indigenous people's history of the United States. Also, remember, community spaces are so important, places where we can engage new ideas, speakers with this wisdom, future and current comrades and co-conspirators, especially as we're coming out of this pandemic and need to be organizing. One way that we can support those spaces, if you have the dough, is to buy books from projects like Burning Books or Firestorm Books Co-op. If you're looking to read statements by Kazi Toure and his comrades, Leslie from Burning Books suggests checking out Hauling Up the Morning, Writings and Art by Political Prisoners of War in the U.S., which you can find online at burningbooks.com. They have a deal on deliveries at the moment. And another title mentioned, available via Burning Books or Firestorm at firestorm.coop, is Let Freedom Ring, a collection of documents from the movements to free U.S. political prisoners. Stay healthy, y'all.
Hey everyone, thank you. Welcome to Burning Books. Looks like there might be a couple new people here, so thank you. If you don't know, there's a restroom right here, which you can use anytime, and we just replenished the toilet paper. I know there was some concerns earlier this evening. 2 fresh rolls in there. We got some books down here that relate to the event tonight. Hauling Up the Morning and Let Freedom Ring. Kazi's got some featuring in both of those, and Kazi's co-defendant, Ray Luke Levassier's trial statement is down there. Some of you might remember Ray was here last September, gave a great talk. Kazi and him are part of the same struggle, so it's a good thing we got Kazi here tonight. Join me in welcoming Kazi Toure tonight. He's an inspirational person that I've been having some run-ins with for at least a decade now. He's been so involved in all the political prisoner support work in especially the Northeast region, and it's just been a real solid character in the movement, the struggle around here. I just saw him speak this morning at Niagara University, and he's got a lot of really important experience to share with us. And that's one of the things that we like to do here at Burning Books. We don't really get people to just come up here and talk about ideas on their own, but we get people to share how those ideas are put into practice. And Kazi is definitely somebody who's put some really important ideas into some very serious practice. So let's give him a warm Buffalo welcome. Thank you.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Leslie, and Lisa, and Nate for organizing this and continuing to bring people and continuing the struggle. You know, it's really important. This work that you're doing. You know, it's really not too many people. Are doing the work. Thanks, man. So I guess I should start off with a little bit about, because people probably don't know me or where I come from or anything. That's pretty much the way they like to keep it, you know. Well, I grew up in New Hampshire. Probably, there's only 2% black people up in New Hampshire. So there wasn't that many people in my brothers and sisters. And it's pretty much a black and white town, you know. It wasn't that much diversity. There was only one Puerto Rican in my school. It was like, 2,000 kids in the school. 7 black people in my graduating class of high school. So wasn't that many. You know, growing up there is, you know, sometimes, you know, they're not afraid of black people as much as if there's more. You know, if there's only a few, man, we can tolerate them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, there's not that many, so, you know. But in other places, but still the racism comes out, and it's, you know, it's institutionalized and permeates all of our society. So it definitely comes out, and it's definitely felt. I can remember, you know, being called, you know, names since I was like 9 years old up there. But that's like, and this stuff comes out. It's more sophisticated too, you know, than in the South. But growing up and experiencing, I was gonna say, I stopped Pledge Allegiance to the flag when I was 13. You know, it's like, you know, it's like I couldn't keep telling them lies to myself. You know, it was like one nation under God, indivisible, all that. Can't remember it now, but you know, it was along those lines, and I just couldn't say it anymore. So they kept sending me, you know, they even come in homeroom class anymore. You're not going to stand up and pledge, you know, your allegiance, then don't even come. So just go get the detention, you know. So I was cool with that, man. But soon, I guess, after I graduated from high school, I graduated in '69. I went to, I lost it. I was used to play ball, so I should back up a little bit. I was pretty good. I probably, you know, I had a few scholarships. I had a scholarship to play ball at Loyola, and one for Syracuse, Loyola, and Tulsa. And but I lost them behind my senior year. I lost them behind something stupid I did for some other people, and they got busted. Ended up coming back to me, and so I lost it. I lost them, and I decided, well, I'll go to California, because California, if you live there 6 months, you become a resident, you can go to school free. And I figured I'd go get in school, get in some junior college for a couple of years, and then go to Berkeley. So I went out to Oakland, and I went to Laney, and it's in West Oakland, and Huey and Bobby of the Black Panther Party, they were going to Merritt at the same time that I was going to Oakland. I mean, to Laney. There were sister campuses, so we had some classes together. So, and Panther headquarters was like on MacArthur Boulevard, and I lived on MacArthur Boulevard, so it was like falling in there was really good for me. I got politicized really quick, and I got to learn more in the streets before I got into college than I did while I was in. So I don't know, it's around, I guess, around that time I got busted. I became 1A for the draft, and I wasn't going to now. I just wasn't going to go. Anyways, and put on a uniform to fight for this country, just really, you know, I had to go along the same lines with Ali, you know. Viet Cong has done nothing to me, you know, so, and I'm seeing it as, you know, just a continuation of the racist practices of this country, you know, going and attacking and bullying up on the Vietnamese people. So I just didn't want to be a part of it. And I ended up robbing a bank. It wasn't for political reasons. It was purely, you know, it wasn't nothing political in it. It was like later on, we got more, you know, serious. But I robbed the bank and I got arrested in around 1970. And I went to prison. So in 71, as people know, Attica jumps off. So there was a lot of organizers going inside prison around conditions, and George's book came out, the second one, Blood in My Eye. Well, somebody sent me a copy of it, and it became my Bible. I just would read blood in my eye. Them pages was like all underlined, and it was my book. But the prison, when I got it, they said, well, we'll let you have it, but you don't show it, don't let anybody else read it, And at the time I worked in the print shop, and so I just made 500 copies and went and passed them out in front of the chow hall, I mean, you can't suppress knowledge, like, it's not, I mean, if you know it, you gotta tell it to somebody else. If you got it, you gotta pass it on. And so I figured, if they don't want people to read this, that'd be great. Yeah, I gotta pass it out. So, I continued to do actions there, but I read about Jan at the time, and this was like, he had put a bomb at the police station in New Hampshire, and so I've been reading the papers, and keeping up with the hometown, what's going on in New Hampshire, So this guy blows up the police station in Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm like, man, that's cool. I mean, I like to meet this person, So.
I'm sorry. What did he hit?
The pig station.
Oh, the pig station.
Yeah, he blew it up.
The PlayStation.
No. So I found some people that knew him, and there was an organization called the New England Prison Association, and they were doing work with a lot of prisoners, and I got a hold of them, and they knew him. They were going in to visit him, so I said, look, can I go in with you? I'd like to, talk to him, man. So they took me in on a visit, and I met Jan and just asked him if he was going to be continuing to do the same thing that he was doing. Got him in there, and he said, yeah. So I said, I'll be in Boston. Come look me up, because, I mean, that's what I want to do. I mean, I figured, look, these people, they have to take a beating for the stuff that they're doing to us, and nobody, is like touching them up at all. To just like, if you got a dog and you go out the house every morning, you kick the dog, and the dog don't bark or growl or anything, after a while you think the dog likes that shit, right? Yeah. Really, I mean, it don't say nothing. So, I mean, if people aren't saying anything and they're being oppressed and down-pressed and they keep getting, by the system, they figure, look, if these people don't care or they must like it, so they keep doing it to us, man. And I got a job working at this place called Haymarket People's Foundation. And what we did was, the staff, we raised money from rich people, wealthy people that had inherited wealth. So we talked to them, they give us the money, and we set up community boards of people who was doing grassroots organizing, and they elected people from their organizations to be on a board, and they decide who gets the money. So we did that. We was giving away about $500,000, $600,000 a year. This was in '79, '78. And I was head of the New England chapter, New England board. So I got proposals from all the people doing grassroots organizing in New England. So I could see, what work was being going on and what work wasn't, at least the ones that were sending proposals to us. And demonstrations, we could keep up with who's organizing what. And pretty much see what's not being done. If I'll give you an analogy, like if you had a bicycle wheel, right, and you're riding your bike and it has some spokes missing, after a while the wheel's going to get wobbly. It's not going to run right because it doesn't have all the spokes in it, right? It's the same with the movement. Like if we got a movement going on here, but there's some parts of the movements is missing that people aren't doing, then that's not going to go right. It's not going to move forward right. So being able to see that what wasn't happening was there wasn't the enemy wasn't, there wasn't any seriousness of nobody's going to do anything to us if we do this, if we keep doing it. What's going to happen? Nothing. Who's going to do anything? Ain't nobody doing anything. So they keep doing it. I mean, just, you see a little example. This, like, in the last, since Trayvon Martin was killed, a black person was killed every 28 hours or every 24 hours now. Black man, woman, child. He was the 51 killed that year. But you didn't hear about none others until Michael Brown, you know? And so, but all the rest still being killed, you know? So it's like, man, they're gonna keep doing it. And then when somebody starts firing back on them, they start, oh, ducking and crying. Oh man, ain't no fun when the rabbit has a gun. You know, like, you know, like they start like, oh no, why are these people doing this to us? You know, we can't understand it, you know. And they have press conferences and they want to say, you know, pigs' lives are more important than ours. I don't think so. No, really. And the way I feel about it is like, I don't put my hands on anybody, and I don't want nobody putting their hands on me. I respect you, you respect me. You know, and then if you don't, if you violate that, then I feel like I got a right to do whatever I want to you, because I didn't do anything to you. And you might say, well, I only hit you a little bit, and you try to take my whole head off, man. You know, like, that ain't right. You know, it's like, well, it's not for you to say what's right after you violated me. You don't get to say, you know. So, we have a problem. You know, so after, so I'm working at Haymarket, I meet Jan, he comes out, we hook up, we start like studying, you know, military tactics. We start studying revolutions that happened, you know, Russian Revolution, the Cuban Revolution, China Revolution. Started studying everything where, you know, they happen, the material conditions that they happen in, how to apply different things in different times. We studied a lot of stuff, and then we started, you know, working out. And it was around that time, it was a good thing that happened. We did a concert for liberation movements in Southern Africa in '79. So we had Bob Marley, Patti LaBelle, Olatunji, Eddie Palmieri, Patty, oh I said Patty, and a band called Jabula. They were exiled from South Africa. We had them at Harvard Stadium do this concert. 14,000 people showed for the liberation movements in Southern Africa. We said we don't want no pigs in there, because it's like, well, you're going to use Harvard Stadium, you have to have security, you have to have insurance and all this stuff. So we said, okay, but we don't want no cops in there. And it was like, well, you have to have your own security team then. So we said, okay, we'll get our own, you know. And so we trained people, because at the time, 13, 14 black women had lost their lives in Boston, 78, 79. At the same time that this was going on, you know, every other week or every other day, another black woman was killed. And they wasn't saying who did it. The same time, the babies were being killed in Atlanta. You know, 28, 30 black kids was killed in Atlanta and missing. The same time, 6 black men had their hearts cut out right here in Buffalo. Right here.
22 colleges.
Yeah, there was like just every other day or every other week they find a black man somewhere with his heart cut out. And so, you know, so we was on attack, just like the stuff that's going on now from the cops. Then, so we saw that the Klan had their paramilitary camps set up. They had one in Connecticut. They had them all over the place. They had South Boston, and they had the South Boston Marshals. They had in East Boston, they were setting up at Maverick Station. I don't know if you people been to Boston, but one station is called Maverick Station. The Klan had a table out there recruiting, you know, out in the open, you know. So we was like, look, man, after they killed Levi Hart, they killed a 14-year-old kid for stealing a car in Boston. And this white woman said, she testified at trial and in the paper, she said, look, I saw the police stopped him, and then they let him go. They told him to leave, and the kid went run up the street and they shot him, you know? So, like, they just set him up and killed him. And then the cop was in the paper with a cigar and a champagne glass celebrating. You know, it's like, look, man, if you're gonna do it, don't be celebrating in our face like that, you know? So we was like, look, this is getting out of hand. These people need to take a beating for the shit that they're doing, like, and nobody's doing it, you know? And like, I mean, we ain't like no bad motherfuckers, man, like, you know, super people or anything like that. We just ordinary people, just like y'all. And, you know, but it's like, I don't know, like, you just gotta figure out who's your friends, and, you know, like, we knew, this is one thing, everybody that we associated with, or that was in my crew, had already been in jail. So we knew, like, the people, and then we knew they weren't gonna rap. You know, they already been tested, you know. You know, we used to call it mud check, you know. They already had a mud check, you know. So we knew we could trust them. So, like, you know, me, Dickie, I knew Dickie had been in, been inside, he's in with my brother. My brother's been in 42 years. He's still locked up now, you know. So I met Dickie through him and met Jan when he was in. And so I know them. I know they're not gonna talk if we get jammed or anything. So I started working with them. That's just how, you know, we roll. Like, other people should work with people that they know, because you can't trust people, you know. It's like the FBI, they got, you know, people everywhere. So you know, we did a concert, and after the concert, right around that time, we met Ray, and they had already been underground. They was already on the 10 most wanted list. So every post office you went in, their picture was in there, and met them, started working with them, worked up with them, and you know, started having meetings, seeing what's going on, what types of things that we could, if we needed to do action, we could do something around that people would understand why it's being done, so that the newspapers wouldn't be just saying these people are crazy. So, you know, like, there's some lunatics out here blowing this shit up, and, you know, like, we don't know why they're doing it. It has nothing to do with anything, you know. But so we tried to do things in a way that the people weren't getting hurt, because the actions were against the corporations that had investments in South Africa. Those corporations that was killing people over there. And we did actions, most of them around South Africa. There was some around Amazote in El Salvador. They killed 1,000 people. U.S. helicopters went in and killed 1,000 people in one day. And so we did action around that to show that all U.S. citizens don't agree with their government's actions. We're not down with that, you know, killing those people. If some message doesn't get sent that we're not all down with that, then they figure all Americans are down with that. And so then they look at all Americans the same way, you know. And you wonder why people wonder why they go places, and the people around the world look at you like, man, you're just some greedy, individualistic people, man. You know. So we did those, we did that. Then I got arrested in '82, and the thing about it, see, I feel like, you know, people talking about Black Lives Matters and all that, this, you know, but it only matters to black people. Black life don't matter to nobody else. It might matter to some white people, but not enough, because, you know, if you pay attention to what's going on and you see what's going on and you don't do anything about it, or you don't say anything about it, you don't step up to intervene, or some racist shit goes down over here and you see it, but you just like, well, it ain't me, you know, walk away, then, you know, the night we got in, we put the cop on the stand when we got arrested. Put him on the stand, we say, why'd you stop at my car? To like do something. He says, well, I saw one black person, one white person sitting in the car, and I wanted to search him, you know? In his mind's eye, he saw a runaway slave. It's like, oh man, there's one, let me get him. Let me get him, you know? In my mind's eye, I see slave catcher, you know? Like, fuck away from me, right? So like, dude's like, that's the dynamic that's going down. You know, he stops at our car, I'm in the passenger seat. You don't need nothing from me. License registration from a driver, you don't need nothing from me. I'm a passenger, man. I got no standing in this. But no, he wants mine too. So I give it to him. Anyways, he calls for backup. They come back. They want me to get out the car. So they go to search me. And you know, but like I said, I don't put my hands on nobody, and I don't want nobody putting their hands on me. I don't care who they are. You know, so you know it ain't gonna be good when he goes to touch me. So we got him on the stand. So why you stop? I see one black person, one white person, I wanted to search them. So they come to my side of the car, get out. Then I get out, they start to search me, we gotta be, it's on. You know, get off me, man. You know, like, so the Supreme Court, Massachusetts ruled it was an illegal stop, an illegal search, and illegal seizure of me. But once the shooting started, everything else became legal. I don't understand that logic. Maybe somebody can help me. You know, how you hit somebody one time, illegal stop, hit somebody another time, illegal search, hit them another time, illegal seizure, then when they fire back on you, oh, that shit was, now it's illegal.
Now it's illegal.
So, black life don't matter. So, we go, okay, you ain't gonna let me out after you do that. What about this? You put a bug in the courtroom in between me and my lawyer in the Superior Court in New Bedford. Stars the People's Court, man. So they get busted. They say, okay, you know, it was illegal bugging of the courthouse. It's okay, so I'm supposed to be let go, right?
Right, why am I still here?
Yeah, but they say you have to prove what was on the tape led to your conviction. So I said, okay, give me the tape. They said, oh, we destroyed, we don't have the tape. It's destroyed. I said, well, ma'am, I shouldn't have to prove anything, but that you broke the law, that you violated my rights. You should have to prove, you know, the burden should shift. I mean, if Black Lives Matters, if we have constitutional rights, if we are citizens, you know, but we don't. So I do 10 years. So I do 10 years. Along the way, inside, I meet some really good people, you know. I met some good Puerto Ricans that was in the movement. I met some good white people that was in the movement. I met some, you know, good Palestinians. I met a lot of good people. They put me on that bus and moved me around like over 40 times, different joints. You know, so I got to meet a lot of people. You know, I did 3 years in ISO for organizing Martin Luther King Day celebration. You know, it's nothing radical, man. Just Martin, you know. I mean, come on, you know, but it's just a fact, man. It's just, you know, they had all these shamrocks all over the joint, you know, and so I'm like, you know, you put shit up here for St. Patrick's Day, but where's the stuff for, I mean, this is the first black holiday that we got. So they said, well, you know, nobody put in for it. So what's the process? I'll put in for it. So I put in for it. It don't happen in January. I said, well, what about Black History Month? Can we do it then? No, can't do it then. So I called state reps, you know. I called them, Byron Russian and Gloria Fox. I asked them, they would come in, told them problems that I was having, you know, getting a Martin Luther King Day celebration. So will you come in and do something around, you know, Black History Month or something? So they came. They told me when they were coming. I made a flyer, passed it out in other blocks, you know, in the prison, and, you know, people came. After they left, they gave me 2 years in ISO. They locked me down, 2 years in ISO, man. And in there, you got your bed, and you got a toilet, and you can walk like maybe 3 steps, kind of like that. 3 steps and turn around and walk like that. You know, that's the space you got. You know, I mean, it was pretty bad. But after that, that was crazy too, because I mean, I almost died in there. It got to a point where because I refused to put on the jumpsuits, the orange suits, because I wasn't a criminal. I'm not putting that stuff on. I'm not a social prison. I didn't do anything, selling drugs or anything like that. I'm in here for political reasons, you know, so I'm not putting on no orange jumpsuit. So I was in the hole anyways. So it didn't matter. They couldn't put me nowhere else, you know, worse. So then they said, well, they come and say, you want this food? And I go, yeah. And they said, well, get on the bed, roll over, sit up, and bark. Yeah, and we'll give it to you. But fuck you, man. I'm not doing tricks for food. You know, I'm not doing that. You know, so this went on for like 13 days. But like every time they came, they would say, you want this food? Get on it. I was like, you know, keep it. And the only way they stopped was I got a court order. I had to go to court for the jumpsuits, for not putting on a jumpsuit. So before I left, I told the judge, I said, they're not feeding me. They haven't given me no food for 13 days. And he asked me why. I told him. And he was like, nah. They gave me a court order. They said, you know, gave me a court order. I took her back to the jail and they started feeding me. But it's, you know, it's just a constant struggle. And I don't believe in hunger strikes, you know. You know, we saw like what happened like with Bobby Sands, you know, in Ireland, you know. Anyways, I got out in 91, and 91, that year, 10,000 black youth killed 10,000 black youth. The year I got out, you know. It's crazy, man. We're killing each other. 91. In 1919, at the height of lynching, the Klan lynched 2,000 of us. You know, left us hanging in trees and shit. And then 91, we killing each other. Shit. That's gotta stop. You know, between pigs and us, man, it's gotta stop. So I got a job at AFSC and started doing a lot of prison work there. I went to Africa 3 times, and I went to Cuba 4 times, and continuing to struggle, you know. And I don't know, I think, how many people know about the MOVE bombing, this bombing? Okay, so yeah, so y'all know about that. You know about Oklahoma City bombing? Yeah. All right, so that's cool, man, because this morning, they didn't know, man. You know, it's hard, like, when people don't pay attention to what's going on, you know, so, and to talk with them, and then, you know, it really is. But, so we, 30th anniversary of MOVE bombers coming up, and we're trying to get buses, go down to Philly, and let them people know, you know, they should let the MOVE 9 go. 7 now, because Phil just died. And we're losing too many people inside. He died January 10th. You know, that's 2, Merrill, and then Phil. 2 members died inside. And we had Richard die, my comrade died inside, Richard Williams, in 07. You know, Noah died inside. It's like, we need to get them out, you know? We need to get them out. I mean, there's like, those are the people that I met, and all the ones I met, it's like they can feel other people's pain, man. They feel this shit. That's what made them do what they did. You know, that's what made them move, because they was feeling it. Well, what's happening to other people? And it's too bad that other people can't feel them, you know? Because some people been locked up. Jaleel, 43 years, Herman, 43 years, you know? My father, 43 years. Jan, 29 years. Anyways, I want to open up for questions. Oh yeah, and Oscar. Oscar is now the longest held Puerto Rican political prisoner. And I was in Leavenworth with him in '82. And they're having a demonstration for him in New York City on May 30th. So people can make that, that'd be cool. Make it down. You know, y'all can bring Buffalo chapter. You know.
Leslie the dates for those things that he can tell us?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
So I'm 100% sympathetic with your feelings, your attitude about somebody putting their hands on you. But what concerns me is if that message is given or just believed by young black males in this day and age, when you're a couple feet away or right up against a guy with a .45 caliber revolver, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how to react to that, because.
Put your hands up.
Okay.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
If somebody sticks a .45 in my face, I mean, I'm backing up.
Okay, so that is what you would do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
Just want to make sure we're on the same.
pretty crazy, man. I mean, yeah, I mean, nah. I'm talking about, what are you talking about, like,
I thought you said you were resisting at one point. The cop had pulled you out of the car, and you resisted when he started frisking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, isn't that the same situation we're talking about here?
Well, no, well, really, he didn't have a gun in my face. He just went to put his hands on
Well,
me.
he's got a gun in his...
Yeah, I know, but it's not.
At the time, it's not apparent about that popping.
You know, I just, yeah, I just didn't think anyways. I'm just reacting. You're putting your hands on me, man. It's
But-
like, don't do that.
Well,
You know,
again, I'm
it's
100%
I don't-
sympathetic
I don't
to
do that to
But you would
people, man.
advise, I would advise anybody, but especially young black males, or any black males, any black women, that when you're in some kind of confrontation with a guy with a .45 caliber weapon,
Yeah,
I mean, I think my reaction is to, you know,
yeah.
follow the commands and then fight it later on.
If there is a later on.
That's not what's immediately in your head. though.
If there is a later on, you're assuming that you're gonna live.
Yeah.
Well, you know, like, it's not really the experience though, is it? I mean, really, man, if they're killing one every 24 hours, that's not our experience. And most of the time people have nothing in their hand but a cell phone or something.
I understand that. But, you know, a lot of these cops, you know, the slightest little what they define as a provocation, I mean, all they have to do is say, he went for my gun.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Out, scot-free, no penalties,
I
you're
know.
free, because all you have to do is say, the individual went for my gun. And we all know that that's a complete lie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's tricky. Well, you know, like, so you gotta take your chance then, right? So you gotta take your chance and hope that he don't kill you. Right? Anyway, right? You know, it's like, what are you gonna do, man?
Like, at least
You know?
yeah.
I don't
you
know.
can't protect yourself from the protection.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you're dirty, man, you know, you better do something.
I just
worry
worry about that incident in Ferguson, or is near Ferguson,
Yeah.
with a young black male. I think he had a beer or something, and he put the beer down, and he went up to the cop and said, "Shoot me, shoot me." I don't think this is like a really good tactic to use.
Me either.
You know. Okay.
Me either, man.
Thank you.
I don't either.
I'm trying to live.
So,
The one that you lived a long time for, the cop is shot,
did he? No. Dude missed.
was somebody fired?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't even get hurt, and you had to do a lot of time.
Yeah.
In New York, you can get 25 to life for just firing at a car, chasing a police car, or a car.
Yeah.
25 to life.
25 of
You
life.
have people inside.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane, man. They're saying their life is worth more than anybody else's life. I mean, how do y'all feel about that, man?
They're fucking mad.
I
They
hear
kill
you.
people, you know, they killed people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Mark Thompson, I think it was. He was strangled in the back of a police car in, down in Broadway area, and killed him.
Yeah.
Kind of killed him. He was handcuffed, he was in the back of the car. A lieutenant woman testified against him, right?
Yeah.
They drove her literally crazy. She had to go on psych medication and
Yeah.
everything. And he didn't get convicted of nothing.
No.
No, nothing.
I know.
So they killed with impunity.
They do it all the time. All the time. And everybody is just,
It's just all.
yeah.
You had mentioned that you had robbed a bank, I mean, you know, just kind of nonchalantly, and I'm wondering what happened after you robbed the bank, because you were still doing activities, and it sounded like you weren't, you know, incarcerated, you were out. And
Yeah, no, we got charged with 10 bank robberies and 14 bombings over 10 years.
okay,
So it lasted a long time. It wasn't just, yeah,
It was a process.
yeah. But we had the fund, we wasn't getting any money from any, you know, foundations, you know, to do this work, you know. You know, so we had to expropriate the funds from, you know, those people that took it from us. We just take them a little back.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So,
did you serve any time for that? That's what I was.
the second one I did 10 years for.
Okay.
I did 10 years for. Not for, I didn't get convicted for the bank robbery though.
Oh, that's what I wanted
Yeah,
to
no.
That was the question.
No, I didn't get convicted for the bank robbery.
Okay.
I got convicted for the first bank robbery, but not the second bunch. The first one I did when I was 19, yeah, I got convicted for that one, but the other ones I didn't. I got convicted the second time for sedition, conspiring to overthrow the government. You know, so I pled guilty. I mean, I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to be the first black president. So, so it's like, I want to be the first in something, man. You know? And, you know, I researched it, looked it up, and John Brown, there was two brothers with John Brown, Shields Green and John Copeland. And they were at Harper's Ferry, and they were riding with John Brown, freeing up black people. You know, they go from one slave plantation to the next, they free up the people, take them to Canada, come back, get another load, take them up to Canada. They was doing that. When they got busted, they argued Dred Scott, you know. So then they said, okay, well, we'll drop those charges of sedition on you, and we'll try you for something else, alien, something, no, another act. But they still hung him, you know, they still killed him. So, but I said, well, okay, I argued Dred Scott too. You know? I said, okay, I'll use that too. And I did Chief Justice William Young, this pig William Young in Boston now. He's the judge, chief judge up there. He says to us in court, oh, I'm a great admirer of Chief Justice Taney, you know, the one who ruled in Dred Scott, you know. So, yeah, you know what we did, so it's like, you know, I hit my lawyer, he starts calling him a racist, and every day at 1 o'clock he'd get up and start calling the judge a racist, and, you know, because he was denying me constitutional rights, and the judge would pack up his stuff and just walk off the bench while my lawyer was talking. You know, it's like, man, he's out.
That sounds like an interesting trial. Is that on the internet someplace, the transcript or something?
No.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Raise trial statement up front. But
But race trials statements up there.
statement.
Yeah. It was crazy. I mean, look at, they stun gunned them in court, man. They shot them in court. Tommy and Ray and them. Yep. There was like, when we was in New York, at MCC New York, they had to bring us back to Connecticut. We was wondering why it's taking so long to bring us back, you know, and they were cutting holes in the bars so that they could keep us locked in the cells and wouldn't have to let us out, so they could just put the food in, you know, like ISO all over again. You know, I mean, it's, people shouldn't let the government do what they're doing. You know, it's really up to the people. And they're torturing people, you know, in these prisons. And nobody's saying nothing about it. They got in every Massachusetts prison, they got a chair. And they got a hole cut in the chair. They strap the prisoners in the chair. And they, you know, a hole cut in the bottom, they strap you in there naked. And they start beating you. And then people defecate on themselves, and that's why they got the hole cut in the bottom of the chair. And they killed this dude, Abel Remy, a Haitian guy. They killed him, he got a blood clot in his leg from them beating on his leg. And it went up, traveled up and killed him. And while his sister was trying to see him, they said, no, he don't want to see you, and turn away. And she come back the next week to see him. No, he don't want to see you. He's refusing visits. They shouldn't be able to do that, man. You know? Like, it doesn't matter if a person's in ISO, in the hole, or in DDU, or wherever. If their people come to see them, they should have a right to see them, and then they could tell them to their face that they don't want to see them, you know, but not the prison. And they got too much power, and they got it because we let them have it. We don't, you know, stand up to the guards union. They don't have no oversight committee. They do whatever they want. Here in New York, they got what? The prisoners get showers every other day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you're in the hole, you get them 2 days a week. You get a shower. But people get diseases, man, and shit in there, you know, if you don't wash. It's madness. Yeah.
So you made the statement that nothing is going on. Now, when you made that statement, were you saying relative to, say, the 60s? Was that your meaning? When you said nothing's going on, or
When?
in terms of
When I went underground? When I went underground?
No, you said nothing's going on. I thought you meant like these days in terms of protest and.
Well, no, there's some things going on nowadays, but I don't see like I see a lot of different groups doing different things.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see a unity come together where people are moving on them together. You know, there's lots of little splinter groups doing a lot of different things, and that's good, but I don't understand how come we can't come together, you know, massively, you know, and move together on this.
Any suggestions as to? I don't disagree with you. But
man, you know, like I've been, you know, saying it for years, so I don't know. I just don't see it happening, you know. It should. You know, we have Mumia's coalition, we have the Puerto Ricans, like they just doing work around the Puerto Ricans. We have, you know, Jericho's doing around all of them, but Leonard's people's just doing Leonard, and you know, we need to be together, moving, and I don't know, man. Until that happens, they're still dividing us, you know.
I'm coming here every so often, you know, whenever my schedule permits, and for different events that happen at this bookstore. I've been asking a lot of questions because everyone's coming here to tell their past conflicts that they've endured to fight for the movement. I'm asking myself, what is this movement really for? Like, what is the movement? Where is everyone trying to go with their movement? What is the final end game, or what is the result that they're looking for when they talk about this movement?
Well, I'm in it to overthrow it, man. I already got convicted for it, you know, and I ain't stopping. You know, that's what I want. I'm for overthrowing the United States government.
I hear you.
That's what I want to do.
I hear what you're saying there, right? I know a lot of other countries probably feel the same way as you do.
Yeah.
But do you think they feel the same way as their own country? Like they want to overthrow their own country as well?
I don't know. I really don't care, man. I really don't care, brother. You know, no, I'm serious, man. I don't care what's going on in those countries, right? These people got their boot on my neck.
I hear what you're saying.
And that's why I want to cut it off.
I hear what you're saying.
You know, like, I don't know, like what are you talking about, though? Huh?
The country wasn't built for minorities, really, or people of
No,
color.
no.
As it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can we ask for something in a country that was never built for us in the first place?
You know,
I know what you're saying.
They brought us here in the bottom of them ships, right?
Right.
Against our will. When they brought us here, we was the first political prisoners.
Right. In this country.
And here.
Right.
Yeah. Or in Cuba, in the islands,
Right.
everywhere that they brought us.
Right.
They sprinkled us all over there, right? So when they did that, they don't have no right to say anything else, man. You know, till they restore, to me. Yeah. Till that comes back and level, then you got no right to say anything, man, because I'm not pledging allegiance to this.
I know what you're saying, man. I
know?
really do. I really do. But like, I'm trying to figure out what is the where is this movement going? Like, everyone's talking about a specific movement.
Man.
Everyone has their own movement.
All right.
Are we moving in the same direction?
No.
Or are we all moving in different?
See, check it, right? It's been big and small throughout. You know, since they brought us here, it's been, sometimes the movement's big, sometimes it's small. You know, it's like anything else. You know, like when Marcus Garvey and them was rolling, you know, it was bigger, right? And then when then it got smaller, then it got bigger again when Malcolm and Martin and all them came on, it got bigger, you know, but it's been steadily going the whole time. Sometimes it's not big, but it's the same movement. It's for the same things. We still don't have, I mean, I'd rather have animal rights than human rights. That's what Malcolm was talking about. He was talking about if you don't have, remember he made that analogy about if we all sitting at the table and everybody's got a plate of food in front of them and I got no food on my plate, then I'm not dining. They're dining. Everybody else is dining. I got no food, man. You know, I have no rights. I don't have the same rights as you. Here, I'm not a citizen. You can't call me a citizen or expect me to wave this flag if I got no rights. If I don't have equal rights, man, as all the citizens in the land do. You can't expect it. Yes.
And even before black people were brought here in the whole ships, I mean, look what they did to indigenous people.
Yeah.
Our founding fathers, what we were founded on was racism, exploiting indigenous peoples, stealing, robbing, murdering, burning their crops, killing their animals, because they felt entitled. That's what our founding fathers did.
Yeah, exactly.
And until you understand total liberation, not just for one ethnic group or race or animals or the environment. It's not
everybody.
Total liberation of everything, including the environment.
Oh,
and all living things on it.
That's true.
That's what the movement is.
For life,
should be.
For life, man. For life, because they shutting down life. Them people are reactionaries, you know, to action.
Do you think the goal is depopulation for specific people?
They've been trying that for a long time. You know, look at, ever since they brought back all them doctors from Nazi Germany, right, that Hitler was using, they brought them over here and gave them IDs and hid them away and gave them jobs to continue to experiment, you know, on how to biological warfare on us. That's what they've been doing. They spraying the subways. They've been doing that ever since they brought them back over here.
So the eugenics movement is still continuing?
Oh, yeah, man. With the AIDS and Hep C, hepatitis C, 40% of the people coming out of prison got Hep. I got Hep C. You know?
In light of the horror, how do you move from trauma to liberation?
I don't know, man. I think that's part of it. You know, I think getting free, it will help your trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's part of why you traumatized is because of the oppression. You know? And now, you know, like, I don't know, like, you know, as far as like counseling and stuff like that goes. I just know that, you know, like with me, they gave me 2 years, 3 years in a hole, 2 years straight, 6 months another time, and 6 months another time. But when I'm in a hole and I'm, you know, and there's fires and floods and the guards beating us and rolling from one cell to the next, but like, you know, like when I was down there, they could have probably got further with me if they were nice to me. You know, if they was nice to me and treated me like a human being, it would be hard for me to stay in my place or where how I look at them and respond. You know what I'm saying? But by them treating me like that, by them coming down hard and beating and doing that, then they just drive me deeper inside myself. Because I know I didn't do nothing wrong to deserve this shit, right? So that trauma that they putting on me is just fueling my anger towards them. You know, I'm turning it all around and put it back to them, you know what I mean? I guess it's like something in martial arts or something in Tai Chi or something, where you direct that energy back, that negative energy back to them.
Yeah. Oh, you said in the beginning that you studied a lot of the revolutions here and here. Did you learn anything? Any tips or any, you know?
Yeah, I learned that you can't apply the same thing that they did over there, over here. I got locked up trying that, man. You know, I know. It's you know, all the material conditions are different. So, and everything changes all the time. It's like, you know, we go away and you're gone 5 years or 10 years, like everything has changed out here. Technology's different, or they don't know about, you know, y'all know about that stuff now, you know, because you were here when it was changing. You're keeping up with it, so.
So when you did the bank robberies, some of the money you said you used that money, but what happened with the bulk of the money that?
No, well, when we first started, we were dividing it up, and everybody would go, you know, back to where they were. We'd come back together, and people were, you know, like using the money. Like we had different safe houses, right? We had different garages that we had stolen cars in and dynamite in. We had different, you know, P.O. boxes where we received mail. You know, we had different things that we had to pay for. So we kind of had to rob the banks to do that. But everybody was dividing up the money and taking their cut and then chipping in to pay. So like at a point though, we got to like, we said, look, this is not our money. This is the struggle's money. And so we're gonna we put it all in what we call taboo. We put everything we took, we put in a taboo, and we put ourselves on salary. So we just got paid a salary. We paid ourselves a salary, and just the rest of the money went like that. So moving. But a lot of it got left in houses too when we got arrested, you know. Where the landlord, whoever went in there afterwards, found it here. So, wow.
You said you found out that they were bugging conversations during your trial between the lawyers. Can you talk about that a little bit? How'd you find that out?
Well, this guy named Barubi, he got busted down in New Jersey for some guns, and but we knew him from before, and he didn't want to go to jail, so he told the feds, he said, I know them guys, if you let me out of jail, I'll go up there and see whatever information I can get for you, and like that, right? So he came up, and he came, I got suspicious of him because they weren't letting anybody in to see me, you know, but my family and lawyers, that everybody else, they wouldn't let him in. So when he came in to see me, I was like, how'd you get in here? You know, it's like, they're not letting nobody in, but you got in? So I just was like, then he started asking me, you know, where people were. You know, it's like, well, where's Dickie? Where's Jan? You know, where they at? You know, I said, listen, man, if you come here to help me, don't ask me about nobody else. If you ask me about anybody else, I'm gonna think something about you, you know? And so, like, he left, and then he went, I told him, go see my lawyers. You want help, go see them, you know? But he went and he saw other people, and he was wearing a wire. So when they broke it down and sent him to jail, he writes me a letter and says, look, man, you know, I did this, I did that, you know, like, I'm sorry, you know, I know you know somebody in all the prisons, and I don't want to do my time in PC, you know, so that's protective custody, right? And so he says, I'll do whatever you want. I said, I contact my lawyer, you know. So he contacted him and gave him an affidavit, and he admitted, you know, that he did this stuff while he was working for the FBI, and they couldn't deny it then, you know, but they didn't let me out of jail anyways.
So does that mean that they didn't wire the courtroom, or they did also?
They did.
They did.
Yeah, they did it.
The table? You mean the table?
He put it in a, it was a Kevlar something type bug. It was a little round. I saw what it looked like. They put it in a briefcase, and they set the briefcase in between me and my lawyer. Yeah. You gotta watch.
I just have a couple comments and a question. Well, one, like, you know, you had said earlier that, I guess back to, like, you know, if someone does something to you, you have the right to defend yourself, and then, you know, by any means necessary. And I would just say, you know, what the system is doing, you know, isn't just, you know, touching you or starting a thing. Like, they have a trajectory, you know, and you know, and if we don't do something, you know, like, anything that they touch, it's, you know, it's like capitalism, it's just about money. So, like, if it's about slavery, it's about the maximization of profits, so you're killing all these people. It's about the land, so you're killing off all the people, you know, all these wars abroad, and they don't stop, and it gets worse, you know, as things go on. So I would say, like, I just was more, I would agree with you, and even more, like, you know, you know what I mean? Like, when you say it, it seems almost as if, you know, you're not describing how horrible, I mean, you do describe how horrible they do, but, you know, they're doing more than just touching.
Oh,
you know
I know, man. I just, you know, it's hard, it's so much. And you know, you see so much, and you see, like, I don't even know where to start talking about this stuff, man. That, you know, you see them do, man. They're just evil people, man. You know, you know.
And I think too, like, the stuff that's been going on now, like, Ferguson's like really good, but, like, you know, a lot of, like, like, you know, Malcolm said, like, anytime you're walking around the 20th century singing, we shall overcome. He's like, you know, you're in a bad shape. You know, the government's failed. He's like, you know, we're in the 21st century, and we went from we shall overcome to hands up, don't shoot.
I know.
You know, that's the sad, you know.
I know, man.
And so, like, everybody's direction is like, you know, like, it's like you have to say hands up, don't shoot for anybody to allow you. And this is like, in my opinion, if a kid does something wrong, they're still right, because they're the youth. You know, these people are getting paid to do these things. You know, so, like, if people, you know, I think the more people are passive and allow this stuff to happen and don't do things like, you know, like, and what you did was a sacrifice, was for everybody, you know, because that, in my opinion, you know, if people don't do those type of things, they, like, they're cowards.
Oh, no question, man. No question. I just look at, I asked them, you know, how many, asked the cop, when we had him on the stand, and said, how many black people had you seen in this rest area before? And he said 4 or 5. And we said, how many did you search? And stop and search. He said 4 or 5. He said, so you stopped and searched every black person that you saw come in here. Right. Yeah, and he says, yeah, and he was the only one that wouldn't let me. So, and that's what pissed me. I'm like, all of them shouldn't have let you, man. None of them should have let you do it. Then by the time you got to me, I might not have had to go to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if the other ones had said no, you can't do it, and then the other ones had said no, you can't do it, and the other one said no, you can't do it. By the time he got to me, he wasn't me stopping nobody.
Like, no, I'm not good.
You know, it's like. But we gotta do what we gotta do, you know, and everybody gotta live the way they gotta live, and you know, I just can't swallow it, man. You know, it just don't go down, you know.
I just want to make a comment about the person that you had made reference to earlier in Ferguson, the man who had gone in and intentionally taken the 2 cans of pop and brought them out to the curb, put them down, and knew exactly what he was doing. And as many times as we talk about this story about Kajimi Powell, because that is his name, people always come in with, he was crazy, you know, and I will never accept that.
No.
And I just feel very uncomfortable with, you know, we can critique tactics all day long until we turn blue, but the fact is that he made a decision about what he was willing to do in that moment. Whether we agree with it or not, he did something.
Right.
And he might have felt so incredibly helpless in every other aspect of his life.
Right.
All he knew was, this will do something. And it did, because I was brought to the place where he was murdered by some members of the black soldiers. And, you know, they're not taking that story that he was crazy at all.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think it's, you know, whenever that's brought up, I just like to clarify, let people know what his name was, if, you know, in case people don't know it or forgot it or whatever. But also just like, I'm really moving away from this whole like focusing on the tactics issue. Like, we'll get so wrapped up in that. Like, if somebody's willing to pull out a gun and put a 45 in a cop's face, that's one thing. I'm not gonna suggest anybody do that. But I'm not going to sit here and debate about whether that's the wrong thing to do either. I'm just saying, like, do something, you know, if you want to sit like and just meditate and just try to push more positivity into the world. God bless you, you know what I'm saying?
Do something too, but not when you're unarmed, facing somebody with a 45 caliber
that's
weapon.
Your perspective.
Yes.
That's what you're willing to do, and I'm just saying, like, you know what it did was, it
put him
whether
6 feet under.
It's right or wrong.
It's not a matter of right or wrong. It's a matter of self-preservation.
I understand, but as I understand
Some people's lives,
situation,
some people,
he was ready to lay his life down. That was a conscious decision.
and some people, man, some people, you know, like don't have, but some people don't have. Some people can look, man.
Accurately judge that.
Some people can.
No, I have judged it. He would be alive if he didn't do that stupid, ridiculous action.
Right, my man. Some people, right? Some people don't have no life, man. You know, some people don't have no life and don't see no future. And they don't see no future, man. So if they don't see no future, they don't got no life. They strap shit to their bodies and walk into crowds and throw the switch, man.
That's different. If you've got, you're saying he had a weapon, you can use a weapon. But if you go unarmed against a guy with a 45 caliber weapon,
that is a weapon, though.
That's ridiculous.
But look at what happened. We're talking about him now. This got the conversation.
This started something.
Because what happened to Brown, you know, that happened 3 days before. And the whole community was outraged. I mean, that trickled through the rest of the country and the world. But who's to say that it would have reached that fever pitch for so long, where they're still protesting today, if he hadn't said, you know what, this is not going to be a single man, this is going to be me too, and it's going to be everybody else until this shit stops. You know,
I'm just saying, staying alive is the most important.
It doesn't have to be right or wrong. He did it. He did it.
Staying alive is the most important.
It's a fairly important thing to stay alive.
And I get that, but you weren't in that, like, you weren't in that situation.
Right.
So what?
You have never been in that situation, so there's no way that you can accurately form how you would react in a situation like that.
It has nothing
you
to do
might
with how
say
I
that
react. This is
being alive
this is my advice to people.
You
It has nothing to do with how I would react.
You gave your.
I'm just telling people, don't go up to a cop with a 45 caliber weapon.
And that's what you think you wouldn't do. That's what you think you wouldn't
I
do.
would not do that. Yeah, I hope
That's
I
what
would
you
not.
think you would not do. Yes.
It's like that monk too, that monk that set himself on fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many people want to sit here and debate whether that was right or wrong? His image will live forever.
But he set himself on fire.
Right, and that man said, shoot me,
He didn't ask somebody
and the
to
bullet
set him
went
on
right where he
fire.
wanted it to go.
Sometimes a statement has to be
Fine,
made.
but look, I mean, it's gonna happen.
Sometimes
whether
a
you
statement
like
has to be
There's a
made.
Buddhist
And
saying.
he felt like that was the best way to make a statement.
There's a Buddhist saying that says there's more to life than survival. You know?
This young man was not a Buddhist.
How do you know?
It don't matter. Yo, my man, but it don't matter, right? If the shoe fits, right, it don't matter, right?
You don't know what his
It
philosophical
don't matter.
Anything about it?
Yeah, you know, it don't matter.
Okay, I
Right?
didn't know he was a Buddhist.
No, it don't matter, right?
He might not. Nobody knows.
The chances are he wasn't a Buddhist.
Can I say something? Like a white man to tell somebody else what's wrong.
Right, I love it.
You're losing the crowd, man.
Yeah, well,
That's okay with me. That's okay. Nobody has made me budge, and I'm willing to listen to more. Because this is...
Yeah, but we don't want us to focus on this one thing. We have a speaker here from out of town. Not that,
I know, I think he's enjoying it.
Take like 2 more.
It's fine with me. Agitation, you know, like, makes things move, man.
Say a word about reform efforts.
Huh?
Say a word about reform efforts.
Reform efforts?
Time, tolerate the time.
No, I said I didn't hear you, man.
Reform. How about reforming the system?
Like prison reform.
Yeah, you know, I'm not really, you know, yeah. I think, you know, I'm an abolitionist, you know. I don't think, you know, we need prisons. You know, I think every citizen should go to prison, man. And if they go, I think they'd be an abolitionist when they come out, man. You know, you just go and see what's inside there, right? You know.
They're working on that.
Yeah. You know.
Like when you were mentioning things reform, all I could see is like all these protests and these demonstrations was like this can have the ability to be the next step that can lead to like an actual vote. And it's like, but I think what you're getting about that is the fact that this can turn into something quote unquote violent, becomes more, I guess, tactical, or lead to a set of other uprisings. Then we have to stop worrying about, I won't say stop worrying about living and dying, but I think we have to stop being so judgmental, because we hear a lot of people on my campus talk about like, oh, the Ferguson riots make black people look bad. And I'm just like, this is, because this is Buffalo State, and the thing is there's a lot of students will be very, have this idea, like, well, you know, it's like, I told them like, this is like, we really have a stake here. And like it's like we're there. If let's just say, okay, maybe it seems quote unquote chaotic, but what if it turns out into like a real warfare? What if it goes to another level? And it's like we have to stop seeing it. That's the fact that there's some monetary gains that we gained for years that somebody decides to blow up a government building. Though that makes us look violent. It's like no, this could just be an uprising. It's like it's not saying that they're not like if we were as violent as you're saying we would be doing this all the time. Yeah, I feel like people we have to get out of that mindset of like, you know, like, I feel like everyone respects human life. But with that being said, we have to get out the mindset that people, a lot of people who are like oppressed aren't just doing this to do it. And it's like, it comes to this, it's like, you live in a violent society, you can't expect someone to not respond.
All right. Well, I feel like black people, man, my people, we too nice. That's how I feel.
I don't disagree with you.
I feel like we too nice, man. We've been nice, so nice, man. They've been kicking us in the ass, man, fucking killing us. And we just like, you know, we should overcome, or we should do this, man. You know?
I think we've been scared too long. I think that's, you know, we've been made to be scared too long. And you were talking about movements, and I think you have one over here, one over here. If we all band together, can you imagine?
Yeah,
you know,
that's the only way we can win. That's the only way we can win.
100%.
You know, and another thing is that we don't have any leaders. You know, we can have these little movements going on in all these little sections, but we don't have leaders that will lead and help people to gather and to do what they're supposed to do. So well, I mean, that's just my opinion.
Maybe we have to lead ourselves. You know, maybe, you know, we have to stop looking for like somebody to like step up to that place and do that, because, you know, it's obvious, you know, like after certain people was killed and jailed and exiled and ran out the country, then people get afraid to step up and do that, you know, because they don't want to be, like my man said, self-preservation, right? They want to stay alive, right? So they don't want to step up, take that mantle, man, you know? So maybe we just got to do it ourselves.
Somebody has to, or you can't, you have if you have little small groups, everybody wants to be a leader and everybody can't be a leader.
I know.
You know?
That's a problem too. I don't understand that because, you know, I see it, and I've seen it a lot since I've been out, but I don't understand it, you know. It's like egos or whatever get in the way. It's like,
right, set aside your ego for 5 seconds and try to recognize and address a problem.
For real, it's like, I mean, I don't want to be no leader, man. I mean, I don't want to be no father either. I just want to work with people to do what we got to do.
Amen.
You know? And I don't want nobody, you know, bossing me, and I don't want to boss nobody. You know? I just want to take care, you know, it's people, you know, your family, friends, and people around you, but I'm not like trying to, you know, it's too much work, man. You know, more task orientated. Give me a job to do.
Right.
I'll go do it. But
like how we were talking before about the actions that you guys were taking against South Africa and the targeting corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And later you're talking about that currently you want, you know, you think the good goal is overthrown the U.S. government.
Well,
No, I don't disagree with that at all. But I wonder about, you know, the connection between the two now, these corporations.
well, you know, they're still there, and government's still here, but I just think that like now, since I've been out, it's just like, and especially after 9/11, it's just gotten really a lot more harder to organize people. You know, they have, government struck so much fear in people with 9/11, and, you know, getting people to give up so much, you know, that people are just like now saying, well, if you're not doing nothing wrong, why you don't care? I don't care if they like, you know, look at my stuff, or I don't care if they like follow me around. I don't care if they tracking me on the phone or looking at my emails, or, you know, like people, I don't care if they wrote the Bill of Rights. I don't care if they, you know, like stop and search you or go in your house and can do that. They go in your house when you ain't home and take and do whatever they want to do, and it's okay now. You know, it's okay. They go in your house anytime. Anytime, man. They go to your landlord and tell them, you know, or get the key, go in your house when you ain't home, and they can do whatever they want to do, put stuff there, take stuff out, and then come back when you go there and arrest you or do whatever. It's okay. And everybody says it's okay, because you ain't doing nothing wrong, why you care, right?
Why do you, exactly.
You know, it's gotten a lot harder to do organizing in opposition to this government, I think. You know, get rid of prisons. I don't, you know,
I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people are pacified and not that many people are willing to put their life on the line, because that's what it's going to take. That's the only thing I see anyway. You got to be willing to put your life on the line for whatever this movement or this cause is.
Right.
I don't think it's until you realize that your life is on the line. And like, you know, like the revolutionaries who were murdered, they say, you know, you better, it's, you know, stopping fascism is more important than going to work, going to school, because fascism is going to stop us all. And if you really have that mentality, you'll start making moves like that, and it's because it's going to be from your thinking. But if you think, oh, if I preserve my life today, I'm going to live longer and things are going to be okay. But if you think, oh, this system's going to destroy this earth and might destroy me and it's not worth it, then you're going to take actions that reflect that.
Yeah, and it is destroying it. There's like, well, it's about 10 more years, only 40% of the world's population have water. About 20, 25? Yeah, 10 years. So if only 40% is going to have water, 60% is not, man. You know, you're digging a well, You digging a well?
Most of the water probably in America, the way I see it.
You know?
The rest of the world probably won't have it, but America probably will. And that's what they're really, I think, are focused on, is preserving everything here. It's like all, like, you know, the old European countries would go to other countries and take whatever they could from their other countries and bring it back home for their people. This is going on here right now. It's about the resources, isn't it? That's how I see it. If they want to bring the resources here for the citizens here, I think that's what they're gonna try and do. And like, forget the rest of the world. Forget the rest of the world. Like,
well, we only make up 4% of the world's population.
and we take so much of like the resources. I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah.
they're strategic with the way they do things. Very
We need to be
strategic.
too, man. We need to be too, because their job is to lock us up and kill us, and our job is to stay alive,
We got
right?
media that they're doing, that they're using.
I know.
They got the
They got a lot.
idea of money behind it also that they're using. Money is also a contributing factor to a lot of things as well. It's
We-
us, you know.
You know, that's why, you know, a lot of actions, you know, that you might want to do, or you might want to think about doing, you know, are things that like have worked in the past. You know, until they stop working, continue to do them. You know.
But I don't know what's working, man.
Go study it, man. Go
Look,
study. All right, look it. You know that the Montgomery bus boycott worked, right? You know that worked, right? Those people sacrificed for a year. They walked. They didn't get on the buses for a year. And what in the rain, no matter what it did, they didn't get on the buses. They broke the city. They said, "Oh, okay, you know, you cost us a lot of money by not getting on the buses. You hurt us economically. Okay, what do you people want? We want to ride anywhere we want on the bus. That's what we want." So it worked, right? Right? And what did they do?
Got him in their pockets.
Hey, man, it's capitalism, right? That's what you got to do with capitalism, right? That's why we were hitting their buildings, you know? It was costing them money, man, you know? And we were giving them a warning so they get the people out, so that the people didn't get hurt, because it wasn't about the people, it was about the corporations. So whatever you do, make sure you do it clear. You think about it before you do it. You know, plan it out. Like, you know, like this, I can't tell you what to do now. Like, you know, you people got, you got your friends. You know who's your friends, who you can work with and who you can't.
I don't think they're ready. I don't think I'm ready.
Yeah, okay, so then keep studying, man. Keep studying, and keep working with people till you find.
Yeah, the terms and conditions movie play out. I'm like, they're watching so many. It's like they're watching so many movies before it even happens. It's like, how do you go up against that? Really?
Well, I don't know. The UK tends to have a giant riot at least once a year, and that riot usually causes some kind of change. That, you know what I mean? So, like, I think you just have to go through and look at effective ways that things have been done.
Right. And check them out.
If you don't do something, it's just going to get worse.
Exactly.
It already is, man.
I just want to say, like, as far as like a catalyst that can bring us all together, I'm just looking like in the past and also flipping it and looking at like what our government or what the government has done to kind of rally normal citizens to support some ridiculous shit that they do.
Yeah.
And it's just like they put the spotlight on something that looks like like an atrocity, something that we have to react to, right? And I think if we take that tactic and we just continue to organize around putting the spotlight on what they're doing, you know, because I think a lot of people get, you know, you might want to do like a rally or be out on the corner or do something, you know, it's visible, but you're not drawing attention to the problem. You're just drawing attention to the reaction to the problem. And I don't know where that's going necessarily long term to activate other people. So I'm looking at like like in Ferguson, the organizers there, one of the ways they would decide whether they would do a certain tactic was whether or not they were going to be able to really show the pigs for who they were. Was the media going to be present, or were, you know, because then the pigs won't act the way they normally. So you have to just try to put the spotlight on the real shit and understand that they'll move back if the news are there, you know. But if you want everybody to get activated, so that you know, not just you, but people that are like, I'm not ready, I'm not sure if I'm ready. Get ready and say, I'm ready now. It's going to take, you know, more spotlights on everything we can get that spotlight on, because some people are living with that shit every single day. They don't need a spotlight anymore.
Right.
But people like me, you know, I need that constant, because that's not my reality. So I need to see that.
I need to see it.
How do I see it? It's like we need to record it ourselves. Stop. See, you know, somebody pulled over. You stop and you start recording it. You know, just and like as an example of that, like, you know, just the difference between my perspective and the perspective of a person of color in this country. Just like what motivates one person to take it to the extent of putting their self in the line of a bullet that they want to go in their brain. I mean, that's some shit that I can't comprehend, but I know that's what's really happening. And me, who's like, no, because when we were in Ferguson, and he had just been arrested outside the Ferguson Police Department, and they had the riot squad, they had the National Guard, and they're working in unison, you know, and they all had their guns pointed at us. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go over here. You know, I'm just going to have to say, this is where I draw the line.
And so many other people just kept going.
No. I was the one of the last people that said, oh, that's not going to scare me. But they kept moving. Everybody's gone. My man from the Black Soldiers group, he stayed there. They had these flashlights on us. Like, they were like trying to flash. And have the guns on us. He pulled out this big ass flashlight of his own and started pointing. He's like, motherfucker, what you gonna do? Shoot me, motherfucker, shoot me. He started doing the same shit.
I have a big light too.
And they backed up. They backed up because there were news cameras there. But the point is, like, in that moment, I wasn't ready to go where he was gonna go, but he was. And who the fuck am I
to say anything against it?
You're not doing it right. That's all I got. That's mine. I'm done.
Well, you just have to be careful, because sometimes they got agent provocateurs, right? And the agent provocateur will throw something or start something, and you will be the one that they turn around and see. You know what I mean? I mean, that happened to me before, and you know, in big riots and big things, you just gotta watch what's going on all the time. You know, it's like, you know, but you're right though. I mean, people gotta do what they can do and keep the pressure on, and don't let up. Just keep the pressure on. You know, that's what happened before. People let up the pressure. It's like I see this, like when we're in jail and we organize it around like food or the radios or visits or whatever when they get bad, and you start organizing the guys to like, okay, we're going to have a strike, we'll shut it down until they give us our visits back, or until they give us, you know, whatever we're looking for, right? And then after we win, everybody goes back to working out, everybody goes back to the law library, everybody goes back to playing basketball, doing what they do, and the organizations fall apart, and 6 months later, the administration's gonna work this shit back to where we gotta pull the organizations back together again and start organizing all over to keep the pressure on. So, you know, it happens out here too. After the civil rights movement, and people thought that, you know, like, well, we arrived and whatnot. They, you know, like after, yeah, and you know, the sit-ins, and you know, and people figured, well, we arrived. You know, we got this thing now. You know, they're gonna let us have affirmative action and all that shit, right? So the organizations fell apart, and there's no more movement, brother. Right. There's no more, you know, platform or program or set forward. This is where we're going. you know?
Right, if you turn the oven off halfway through baking a souffle, the souffle is gonna fall.
So it happens out here. The macro.
It's gonna fall.
Same thing.
Got some posters and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You want to mention that?
Yeah, I got some posters, political prisoners. That one's kind of outdated a little bit. There's some people that's out now that's on there, like Ray, and there are a few people that's out that's on there. And a couple people that's passed. I see Eddie Hatcher and Richard has passed. But we need to make another one, updated. But yeah, I got some posters, and that other artwork down the bottom is by Luis Rosa, and the other stuff on the top is by Tom Mann, my co-defendant. I got some, if people, Forced Struggle, my other co-defendant, Jan Laman, he does Forced Struggle mag, and comes out, it's gonna come out twice a year. It's gonna come out twice a year in a hard copy, and but you can go online, and there's gonna be a monthly discussion going on. So you just go to Forced Struggle mag, and these $5, and posters is $2, and the other one's a Prince of $5.
I'm going to pass the basket around again. Someone said that not everyone got to it, so if you haven't had a chance to make a contribution, let's pass it around again. Let's give Kazi a big round of applause.
Y'all keep it up, man. You know, stay organized. If you're not in any organization, get in one. Find one. You know?
Make one.
Yeah. You know? There's a lot of work to do.
A couple of notes about some of the prisoners and projects that Kazi mentions in this 2015 presentation. Oscar Lopez Rivera was released in 2017 by Obama. The surviving members of the Move 9 were released in the last 2 years on a move. Herman Bell was released in 2018 and lives in New York State. Forced Struggle Mag is no longer producing print editions. You can find their site with some posts up at number 4, strugglemag.org. The latest post on its site announces the death from incarceration of Tom Manning, one of Kazi's comrades from the UFF. There you can find posted messages about Tom Manning and his legacy from Certain Days Collective, which produces the calendars, from political prisoners Kojo Bomani Sababu, Bill Dunn, Oso Blanco, incarcerated comrade from the UFF Jan Laman, and former political prisoner from the UFF Ray-Luc Levasseur. Jan Laman continues to be incarcerated, as does BLA prisoner Julio Muntekim. You can find out more information about some of these and other prisoners at the website for the National Jericho Movement or nycabc.wordpress.com. Stay healthy, y'all. This is The Final Straw, and I'm Bursa Goodness. This show will later be archived at thefinalstrawradio.noblogs.org, and you can email us with questions and suggestions at thefinalstrawradio@riseup.net or thefinalstrawradio@protonmail.com. If you'd like to use any episode for your project or radio show, feel free to do so. Just send us an email to let us know. If you care to, you can send us letters at The Final Straw Radio, P.O. Box 6004, Asheville, North Carolina, 28816. This show is brought to you by Firestorm Books and Coffee. Located at 610 Haywood Road, Firestorm Books and Coffee is a worker-owned co-op in Asheville specializing in offbeat, underground, and independent literature. You can find a catalog of Firestorm's books and zines, plus a full calendar of events up at their website, firestorm.coop.